All my fears and doubts dissipated like early morning mist at Kalapapa in the warmth and sincerity of my welcome. That's what this Hale Mohalu I and this Hale Mohalu II is all about. Every one of us will remember this day who is here today. No matter what we do the rest of our lives, no matter what the rest of our day or weeks or months to come, whatever life is left to us, whatever time is left to us, let's remember this day. Because this is the fulfillment of the legacy of sacrifice and pain and suffering and faith and determination of Hansen's disease patients throughout the history of Hawaii, Kalapapa and Hale Mohalu. I said I learned the true meaning of aloha at Hale Mohalu. Eye to eye, face to face, I give you and greet you with my peace, in fact, the very breath of life. The very breath of life. I said in those moments I joined a community of profound moral commitment. Easy to talk about commitment, easy to talk about political philosophy, easy to talk about freedom, easy to talk about dignity and integrity, purposefulness. I learned about love and Damien's struggle made manifest in Bernard and Clarence and Mary Dward and Uncle George and Sanford Smith. They call out to us now as those exiled to Kalapapa called out for justice, called out to a God they continued to have faith in, no matter what was inflicted on them. They called out as Ka'ehu did. Am I right, Makea Malo? Makea called out. The ancient chanter of Kauai called out to Kalapapa. So sailed we forth to dim Molokai Island and shrouded in fog. The fog is lifting today. The fog lifted for Bernard. The fog lifted for Clarence. The fog lifted for Damien. Now he is a saint. Damien could care less about being a saint. Bernard, Clarence, Sanford, Uncle George, Mary, all those folks now gone. They could care less about sainthood. The children of Damien, the children of Kamiano, have showed us the path and led us to Journey's End here today. I was struck by a series of essays that I read in the wake of my experience at Kalapapa by Carl Jung, the great psychoanalyst. He wrote a whole book on Job, on the book of Job. Job is the epitome of suffering. I remember he quoted Samuel, "I am distressed for thee, my brother. I am distressed for thee, my brother." We sometimes forget, I think, what God was like in the Old Testament. We get a different version these days. We get a sanitized version of God these days. We didn't have that at Kalapapa. The Hansen's disease patients did not have that sanitized version. They didn't have that love me tender version of God at Hale Mohalu. Oh, they had a God that was hard. They had a God that was difficult. They had a God that loving kindness and simple-mindedness was far, far from the experience that they had. No, what we had there and what they had there, what we learned from that, I care for thee, my brother, was Job's answer. Behold, I am of small account. What shall I answer thee? I am of small account. That's what the people at Kalapapa were, of small account. To be set aside, to be marginalized, to be put at the edges, not to count. And yet what we learned, did we not? And is not Hale Mohalu I and Hale Mohalu II dedicated? That the least of these shall be first. Those most afflicted will have mercy and know what mercy is and teach us what mercy is all about. Those of us full of ourselves, those of us for whom the world must revolve around, those of us at the center of everyone's attention, get a lesson in humility, a lesson, a fundamental lesson in humanity from what took place at Kalapapa and what took place those 5 years at Hale Mohalu. It's an interesting and instructive situation to confront. Bernard, my friend, my mentor, my counsel, my conscience, would often cite from Job. How is it possible? How was it possible for the people of Kalapapa and the people of Hale Mohalu to persevere, to set the standards of kindliness, to set the standards of welcomeness, to set a standard of openness, to set a standard of aloha, when they could say with Job, my wounds are multiplied without cause. God destroys both the blameless and the wicked. If I wash myself, how shall I not be plunged yet still into a ditch? It was faith. It was faith in themselves, faith in others, faith in the God that they expected one day to come to accounts with them. That's what took them through. Their faith in one another, and their faith in a divine intervention that would come on their behalf. A faith that Hale Mohalu come to mean a place of refuge. A pu'u ho'ohnua, a place of refuge, a place where people could come in peaceful repose, where they would be respected, where their dignity would be supported, where their worthwhileness as a human being would be understood and celebrated. And so we come here today to this senior apartments groundbreaking, knowing that this is a day for joy, knowing, as Abraham Akaka taught us so many, many times before, that on occasions of joy, on occasions of celebration, make a joyful noise. And today we will make a joyful noise here at Hale Mohalu for all those Hansen's disease patients, all those who came before, all who will come after, in the pure joy of knowing that humanity and Hale Mohalu are today indeed one. Aloha, mahalo.